All right, guess who's back? Your boy Jose Pio. The Jose Pio is back. Sorry I had a miss on Monday, but sometimes a call for helping out your fellow man comes in and you can't say no to that. So when my congressional candidate Greg Savick says, "Hey, I need you for something," and it's unfortunately out of my power, I gotta be there. And also Lavelle was available. So that was a big deal. I was very happy to hear Lavelle back on the show. I'm always happy to have that other side of the voice. Obviously, we have Bobby D and Dr. Bob here to provide that alternative voice to my Democratic self, because I am obviously the only Democrat in this entire building.
But a freedom loving thing.
I think I am a Constitution loving Democrat. I think that the difference there is I understand what I pledged my allegiance to uphold twice when I joined the military, when I was on city council. I pledged myself to uphold and defend the Constitution, and I take that very seriously. There have been times in the past where I was asked to, you know, kind of bow to something. I was like, nope, nope, don't like that. Backed out and did not join whatever group that was. I said I do not vow to uphold anything other than what's in my faith and what's for my country, for the benefit of my country. But let's get into topics of the day. I want to kind of preface our entire conversation today with how I grew up, because we talked about many times about how we view our realities through lenses, our own different lenses. Well, I grew up in a working poor family. I say working poor because we pretty much only had enough money to cover the expenses every month, and then anything additional was you got to say it's a want. It's not a need, it's a want. I never knew my biological dad. My mom was a single Latina teenage mom when I was born. She was only 16 years old. So my mom is only 16 years older than I am. So she is a young woman. And obviously she was a very young woman when she had me. And we actually had one of my favorite podcasts that we've done. I had my father, my stepdad, but I call him my father. He was there since I was young. He took me on as his own. I'm very proud to be able to say that, for the most part, I grew up with a father who chose me as opposed to the one who, created me. Um, I had them on, and I talked to my mom about that because it's always been something that's weighed upon me. Was my mom could have made the decision, and it would have been a very logical decision for her to choose the route of abortion. 16-year-old girl, young girl, living in the hood. I mean, she was living, let's see, at that time, where was she? Conkey Avenue D, Avenue C, Hollenbeck area, in the hood. There was no reason for her to actually have me. And probably one of my favorite, definitely my favorite podcast was having her on and asking asking that question of, why didn't you choose to, abort me? And it was awesome. She looked right at me and she said, it was never even a thought in my mind. It was God put you into my body, and you were a gift from the beginning. Man, I don't cry. I don't get emotions, but that one had me. But like I said, my dad stepped up to take me on as his own and taught me life lessons that have always stuck with me. Now, I'm going to get through the conversation here so that you can understand how I have viewed the past week in Rochester. He taught me life lessons that have always stuck with me. When I say working poor again, we paid the bills. Anything else that we wanted, I had to go out and work my freaking tail off for. I had after school hustles as a sub teenager. We're talking, 10, 11, 12 years old. I was out there shoveling driveways. I was out there doing landscaping jobs with one of my best friends and actually business partner now, Billy. He's been on the show before. Um, we did landscaping jobs as kids. At 14 years old, my father said, "You've got to go get a work permit. You're not going to sit around and just keep doing these side gigs. Go get a work permit and go get a job." And I was very much okay with it because I was tired of every school year. We would basically, this was our school routine purchasing for the year. We go get our uh, we go get our school supplies, and then we go get two new pairs of clothing. So we got two new pants, two new shirts, one pair of sneakers. And these sneakers weren't sneakers; they were Bobos, right? These were straight up Bobos from Walmart. And when I took on this job at 14 years old, the very first thing I purchased was a pair of Ken Griffey Jr. sneakers because I wanted to feel what walking around in nice, brand new Nike sneakers was like. Because, like I said, I only had Bobo sneakers. I had hand me downs from my uncle, who's, I believe he's about 4 years older than me, my uncle. Um, I had his hand me downs, but they were always like a size too big. But any school projects that came up, any school trips that came up, I paid for them. My yearbooks, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th grade, whatever yearbooks, I paid for them. Any hangout with friends or going to the movies or maybe even, just grabbing a, soda with, some friends down at the corner store, I paid for that. This is the reason why I'm bringing it up because I'm not a criminal. I've never assaulted anyone. My socioeconomic upbringing, I'm using air quotes there, taught me to value the things that I earned. If I didn't get my way, I don't go around destroying public spaces or taking someone else's life. That's just not even a thought in my mind. So any politician out here still claiming these people who have essentially taken over our city streets and our communities and just doing nonsense are they're claiming that they're anything but criminals who need to be held accountable. They're not even it's not even gaslighting at this point. They're not gaslighting us. They're actively aiding the destruction of our cities. They're even worse, in my opinion, bending the knee to their socialist idols. It's time, Rochester. It is time to call them out for what they are. These politicians that make up these terminologies that make it sound like, oh, it's just because they're poor that they go around and do these things. It's because they're poor that they, should get away with it. No, they're call them out. Call them out immediately and say you're being an enabler of chaos. You're being an enabler. And you need to be voted out and replaced by someone who understands that just because someone is poor, just because someone is young, just because someone's Latino, doesn't mean they shouldn't be held accountable to their actions. That was my life growing up. There was never a chance for me to not be held accountable to my actions. My mom will get her first whoopings in and then say, "Wait till your dad gets home." There was a couple times I got second servings of butt whoopings. It's funny because my mom not that long ago she had called me up. She was in her feelings about something. I don't know. I think she had a conversation with somebody or I don't know what happened, but she called me up and said, son, I apologize. I want to apologize for, whooping your butt when you're younger. And I said, are you insane, Mom? What are you talking about right now? She's like, I've really been thinking about things. I want to apologize for, probably taking it a little too far. I said, Mom, just stop right there. Stop right there. There's no way I'd be where I am today without you doing that because I could easily be on the path of destruction, just like I shouldn't say every other, I should not put everybody in this category, but many other young Latino men growing up in this city, like we grew up, like I said, we moved, thank goodness, moved to West Irondequoit, but every weekend we were over on Clinton, on Avenue D, Avenue C. We were raised on both sides of the tracks, both sides of the tracks. 104 was the track that pretty much blocks out the hood from the suburb. West Irondequoit was one life, and then going across the tracks to the other side was a whole nother life. I was blessed to see both sides. I was blessed to have a stepdad who said, no, we're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to raise our children in the hood with rat infested and cockroach infested apartments. We need to get them out of here and get them into a good education. So we're going to dive even deeper into the conversation because I'm tired of these politicians, man. I am so tired of them being enablers of chaos. 346-3000 is the number to call in. Please give me your insights into how you were raised. Were you raised the same way? Did you get butt whoopings? Were you happy to get out of the nonsense as well? Do you see everything for what it is, and that is just talking points of the party that controls the city? 346-3000 is the number to the WYSL stations. I am the Jose Pio. We'll be right back after this.
Well, I didn't grow up in West Irondequoit. I grew up in Livonia, but I can tell you, the butt whippings were flying out here too.
Elections are essential if we're going to restore our society.
I think I had the wrong audio on there. Damn it. Oh, hopefully I can hear it.
Jack audio.
Jack audio. It automatically somehow.
Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law. That in 2020, there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties. That there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
Youth for Christ Rochester is focused on keeping kids safe and healthy this summer. We provide a Christ-like culture in our skills and drills, Friday night or Saturday morning basketball. And we're so excited to start all 3 versions of our new God's Girls middle school programs. Consider connecting your business or ministry to one of these vital programs for City Youth through a sponsorship. Reach me at mhennessy@yfcrochester.org.
Carol Penfield.
Member monthly gift, go to YFC Rochester.
Carol Penfield.
This is a public alert. On Tuesday, November 5th, New Yorkers will proposal to amend the New York State Constitution. They're calling it the Equal Rights Amendment. Don't be fooled. It's anything but. This radical plan would change New York as we know it. It could completely erase girls' sports, empower the government over parents, further stripping away parental rights, and threaten senior discounts in housing. We must vote no on Prop 1. Learn more at protectkidsny.com. That's protectkidsny.com. Paid for by the Coalition to Protect Kids NY.
Political Penfield.
There's gonna be some stuff you're gonna see that's gonna make it hard to smell.
All right, we are back with more conversations regarding the real life of the city of Rochester, regarding seeing truth behind all the madness and nonsense that is happening. We do have a caller, Carol, on the line. How are you, Carol?
I'm good, thank you. I didn't grow up in Rochester, but outside Detroit. There were 11 children. My dad only went to 3rd grade. He was an immigrant. We started working, and we were proud to work. We all had jobs to do. I had a bank account when I was 9 years old. I'd save up my money and go put it in the bank so proudly on Saturday. And all of us did not end up in prison. There were no welfare back then. Everybody just did their job. You walked around, you had patches on your knees, but everybody in the neighborhood did the same. And we had God to know right and wrong.
Carol, that's fantastic. You said you were raised right outside Detroit with 11. You had 11 brothers and sisters, or 10 brothers and sisters?
Well, I had 10. There were 11 children all.
Man, how many bedrooms?
Well, let's see. My dad. Well, then we slept 3 to a bed. I mean, we had a 2-story house, and there were 2 bedrooms down, and there was a whole big open upstairs. So we had double beds up there.
That's fantastic.
And my dad built an addition on the back.
He built it himself?
Oh, of course, yes.
Oh, man. See, that's the good old
days. You know
of
how he did that?
How did he do that?
There was a house that burned down up the street, and so he took the job of demolishing it. And what things were good to salvage, like windows or things that weren't burned, he started to build us a new house with that.
That's amazing. See,
people were resourceful. They were self-sufficient back in the day. They didn't depend upon the government. I think that the government is destroying people.
Carol, I thank you so much for calling. That is fantastic insight. Because you're actually going to jump into another conversation there about how you had jobs as, young children, as teenagers. We had jobs where we were getting, my first job, I was getting $4.25 an hour, right? $4.25 an hour, washing dishes in the back of, what was the place called? Happy Days Restaurant out in Greece. I was washing dishes, but the absolute worst job of my life. I hate washing dishes because of that job, because specifically the beans would burn to the sides of the containers, and I would take so long cleaning that the chefs or the cooks would come back there and yell at me for taking so long cleaning the dishes. And I said, this is absolutely terrible. And the owner, when I told him, I can't do this anymore. I really just hate every single day coming in, washing dishes. And he was like, well, I'll give you your raise early. I'll give you $4.50 an hour. I said, it's just not worth it to me. But the truth of the matter, because I had this conversation with somebody online that said that I was not a true Democrat because I did not believe in raising the minimum wage. This is the truth, okay? From anyone who has any kind of common sense, who has been in business before, who currently owns a business, we keep raising the minimum wage, which destroys the possibility of teenagers getting jobs. That is the absolute truth. Look at the numbers of how many teenagers currently have jobs. Because when we talk about raising the minimum wage, is because we want to increase the quality of life for people who have families, who are living on minimum wage, who are just trying to get by. Look, minimum wage is for minimum skilled jobs. These were meant, you may disagree with me. That is perfectly fine to disagree with me. But this is minimum skilled jobs, meaning, for the most part, you have no value outside of being replaced by either a monkey or a computer. You can hate me for saying that. You can be upset with me for saying that, but that is the absolute truth. You're pressing some buttons to cash somebody out or to ring in someone's order. Anything and anyone can do that. That is not a high skill job. That means that you do not provide very much value, so therefore, why should you get more money for that position? Right now, we have minimum wage at freaking $20 an hour, essentially, for any kind of fast food workers. But yet, if you go to, I don't know, become a security guard or work for an EMT, you actually get paid less than people working at McDonald's. It's absolutely absurd. It makes no sense. And we know what's happening, and we know what would happen. Businesses are going to take their money and invest in technology. You go to, I don't go to fast food anymore. I do not eat fast food. I think it's absolutely disgusting to feed that to yourself. So anyone out there listening, please do not eat fast food. It is terrible. The part where you come in and then you order from the station, and then first of all, they ask you for a tip afterwards. Last I heard, you ask for a tip from a station that you put your own order through. That's insane. But then you get someone who says, all right, here's your order number. Here you go. So the person that used to take your order no longer is employed. The person that used to scan your groceries to check you out is no longer employed. This is what's going on. I mean, you're being replaced by technology. And who gets replaced? Those with minimum skills. Who do those people tend to be? They tend to be teenagers. Now, I am all in favor of, if you have a family to take care of, you should be able to make enough money to take care of them. That does not mean that the company that you chose to work for needs to now be the savior of your family and saying, oh, okay, well, because you have a family, I think you deserve $35 an hour instead of $20 an hour. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is that I'm talking to men out there, okay? Ladies, you can go ahead and cover your ears if you want. That way, I don't be called a bigot after this. Men out there, it is your ultimate responsibility to take care of your offsprings, take care of the family, take care of your responsibilities you took on. So whether it's your child or someone else's child, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, your fiance, whatever it may be that you decided this is my responsibility and I am going to be accountable to them, it is on you to go out there and bring about the most value that you can to the world so that you can be compensated appropriately. The more value you bring, the more compensation you get. That's pretty much the law of the universe. So if you're not getting paid very much, it usually means you're not bringing very much value. So there's a lot of kids in this inner city who are not getting paid very much, and they look to fast cash. They're not getting paid very much because they either don't have a job or the only job they can find is some menial, low-skilled job. So they look to the fast cash. They look to the drug dealers. They see what's going on in the streets. They see what people are driving around in, and they say, I want that life. That's the life I want. I don't want this guy who's driving the RTS bus. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to drive an RTS bus. I don't want to walk around carrying mail in the hood. I don't want to, own a convenience store. I don't want to go work as a janitor somewhere. No, I want that fast cash. I want to work the least amount and get the most amount out of it. You're setting yourself up for failure. And again, I'm talking to the fathers out there. I'm talking to the men out there. Not just fathers, to the men out there. If you want to bring more value, if you want to make more money for your family, you have to increase your own value. If you have low skills, go get another skill. Make it a nighttime gig. I'm talking just 90 days. Just dedicate 90 days doing 1 hour a night. That's all I'm saying. Just let's call it 10 hours a week. Make it even. 10 hours a week. Just say, I'm going to put 10 hours per week into getting this one skill or improving this one skill that I have so that I can go into the free market and say, this is what I have to offer. If this is of value to you, I hope that you will pay me this much for this skill that I have. Now, the city of Rochester gives you lots of opportunities for that. They're giving you the opportunity to learn a skilled trade. That is amazing. You don't understand. You can go to, I think it's called iTech or ITEP. It's over on Ridgeway, iTech, ITEC. Look it up for yourself. Any kids outside of high school, any young men who don't want to go to college or can't go to college, can't afford college, any men who just got out of jail, any men who just decide for themselves that they want to do better for their families, look up iTech, ITEC. It's a 6-week program, I believe it is, where you learn every skill that is required to build a freaking house, just like Carol said, that her father was able to do. You learn literally every skill. You learn one skill for 1 week. You learn electricity for 1 week. You learn roofing for 1 week. You learn, putting up drywall for a week. And at the end, they give you tools. You get a whole tool set to go and take your skills out into the free world and either work for somebody and improve upon your skills, or you could even go to, Nextdoor, app, Facebook, Marketplace, Instagram, create a brand for yourself and say, look, if you need someone to just perform menial work around your place, around your house, around your business, if you just need someone to take care of your apartments that you have, your buildings that you have, I have a very amazing set of skills that I would like to offer you. And you can easily get paid $25, $30 an hour. It is out there, people. The opportunities are out there, men. Go get them. Stop with the excuses and stop listening to these white saviors who got elected to try and represent you, saying that, don't worry, it's not your fault. You can go ahead and rob, steal, murder. Stop listening to them. 346-3000 is the number to the WYSL station. I am the Jose P.O. This is the Politically Correctly Podcast. We'll be right back after this.
Never see you anymore. I need your love, baby.
pray for the USA. WYSL. Proud to be your local talk station for great American programming.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. For tonight, partly cloudy, still kind of muggy. We'll stay in the 60s to near 70 on your Thursday. Another kind of hazy, hot, humid day, 80s to near 90. Most of the time dry, just a slight afternoon shower threat south of Rochester. On Friday, a better chance of some storms in the afternoon. Another very warm, muggy day with temperatures well up into the 80s. I'm Rich Cadelia, WYSL.
For hot savings and off-road fun, shop the all-new Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep brand, Route 96 in Victor. Try these deals. Lease a 2024 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4, only $179 a month for 27 months with $3,500 cash and trade down. Most have lease deals. A 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo X 4x4 is just $379 a month for 39 months. $3,500 cash and trade down must be Conquest and C. The 2024 Jeep Wrangler Willis 4XE convertible is just $349 a month for 36 months. $3,500 cash trade down with lease loyalty. All these deals require first payment, DMV taxes and fees due at signing. 7,500 miles per year except Jeep Compass 10,000 miles per year. Different conditions may apply. See dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. The selection and deals are great at the most beautiful new vehicle sales and service.
Can you guys hear me right now? Let me know if you can hear me on there. We can continue the conversation while we're on break.
Hey, Bob Savage calling. It is Wednesday about 1:30. Going to be in Allen Bay this weekend. Wondered if you were going to be around. We'd love to have you come over maybe Saturday morning, even for breakfast, or anytime during the weekend.
Penfield office, 5-time consecutive winner of the National Best Practices Award. MGM is proud to support veterans groups. For your personal, business, home, or professional insurance needs, meet the experienced staff at MGM Associates. Locally and proudly owned at 1745 Penfield Road in Penfield, 381-7008, or MGMinsure.com. An associate of United Frontier Mutual Insurance, 190 Davison Road, Lockport, New York.
Register to vote. The voice of liberty. The WYSL stations.
Join the culinary family as Fratelli's Restaurant in Avon is now hiring for a line cook position. Are you passionate about creating delectable dishes that leave guests craving more? Do you thrive in a fast-paced kitchen environment? Fratelli's Restaurant is seeking a talented and dedicated line cook to join their team. Qualifications include proven experience as a line cook in a restaurant setting, passion for food, and a desire to learn and grow, ability to handle high-pressure situations during busy shifts, flexibility to work holidays, nights, and weekends are a must. Compensation, $25 to $35 per hour based on experience. Simple IRA plan with up to 3% match after 1 year of employment. Fratelli's Restaurant offers a dynamic and supportive team environment, opportunities for skill development and advancement. Apply online, fratellisavon.com, an equal opportunity employer.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta, saying that it was started by a veteran along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadler, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs, and thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Today's heat pump systems are a better, more convenient way to keep your home comfortable all year round. They'll keep you cool on the hottest summer days and keep you warm on the coldest winter nights. Plus, these all-weather ductless or ducted systems are up to 40% more efficient than conventional heating and cooling systems. Upgrade to an energy-efficient heat pump system and take advantage of clean heat rebates. Find out more at airquipheating.com.
Airquip Heating and Air. August 3rd and 4th, keep your eyes to the skies for the Italian aerobatic jet team, the Freak Chain Tricolore, and more at the AP Property Services Rochester Air Show. Information and ticket options online now at rockairshow.com.
Avon Gun and Locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York State laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday, Avon Gun. East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Politically correcting.
Can we get much higher? So high.
Oh, man, we are back with that long break here at the WYSL station. You're back with the Jose Pio, the Politically Correcting Podcast. We really appreciate you joining us. This show has always been about bridging the gap between the right and the left, or so-called right and left, should I say, to show that we have common interests and goals, as well as to be able to decipher. We want to be able to decipher when our government and media are lying to us. That's why you come to the show, because you know that everything you see on TV and on your social media, that it's just, it doesn't seem right. So how does a Democrat and a Republican find common ground? Usually by looking to what we both want for our country. I would like to think I say both. I'm talking to, Dr. Bob here because Lavelle is not with us today. But I honestly don't even know if Dr. Bob is Republican. I do not know, nor do I care. But usually, we look to what we do want for our country. I would like to think that we both want our tax dollars to be spent on fixing infrastructure and helping the most needy, like our veterans, the disabled, and our elderly. Am I wrong, Dr. Bob? How do you feel about that?
We all want good things for the country. We want things that will perpetuate the country, keep it going, keep it solid, keep it safe. And, we want to have safe borders, and we want to live in peace.
So would you be okay with paying taxes, let's say even more taxes, as long as your country was improving at the pace of, let's call it Abu Dhabi? In the past 50 years, Abu Dhabi has created a beautiful city out of absolutely nothing. While here in America, here in, Monroe County, we've had the same skyline for 60 years.
Yeah.
I think that most people would say, all right, fine, I'll pay a little more taxes as long as I'm getting the benefit out of them.
Now, with an asterisk, for me personally, this is a question, right? I would like to see proof that the existing taxes and the money that we're already shoveling into the coffers of government is not being wasted foolishly. Like billions of dollars for charging stations, and 7 have been built. Or billions of dollars for electric school buses, 60 of which have been built, and now the company's gone bust. You can't even get parts for them.
Well, I want
to be all that kind of stuff,
Yeah. So let's assume for a second that our government knows what they're doing and they're really good at spending their money. I feel as though most people are like, okay, as long as my taxes are going towards actually bridges that function correctly, roads that don't have potholes all over them, government with good education, usually people would be okay with it. But where we are right now, I can easily agree with you to say that all of it sucks. For the most part, all of it sucks. Let's go over now what we likely don't want. I would say what I don't want, and maybe you can agree or not. I don't want the media giving me false information.
Right.
Okay, you agree. I don't want the media doing opposition research and pushing narratives for one particular party or political candidate. Do you agree?
Totally.
Well, let's see how the media has done exactly that with Robert Hur. Remember Robert Hur? He was the one who wrote in his report regarding the President Biden's handling of classified information. He said President Biden was, quote, a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. Do you remember what happened to that report and Mr. Robert Hur after he came out with that?
Well, yeah, it's been hidden away, and I guess it's been paraphrased, and we've gotten some kind of a written narrative of it, but we have no idea how accurate that is. And just the fact that we don't actually have the recording to hear indicates that what we're looking at is not accurate.
Well, not only that, he was literally lambasted. The media went after him immediately.
Oh, the media were, sure.
And they dragged him through the dirt saying, how dare he say something like that with no evidence, without, providing anything to, the American public for them to make up their own minds. But was he wrong?
Well, wait, how does the media know what the content of the report was?
Wow, that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
And shouldn't our media know if our president was, quote, a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory? Wouldn't they have been able to see that? Because, I mean, I felt like I saw that. Did you see that?
Well, I don't know the well-meaning part, but I think he's elderly, and I think he's confused, and I think he's corrupt. Look, there's a reason why we're not seeing this thing. So, of course, he's going to be vilified by the media.
Well, speaking of vilified by the media, J.D. Vance, your guy who's going to be the vice president for Donald Trump, this is what they're saying about him now. He came out with his. This was, 3 years ago, they said something about women with no kids.
Something like that.
And somehow the media found that, and now it's been the biggest talking point from the left. Let's hear what just recently came out from MSNBC.
The stats are there. More and more Americans choosing not to have kids, which again emphasizes why J.D. Vance's comments about childless Americans, childless cat ladies, could be so politically damaging.
Well, so what's interesting is this natalism that comes from an authoritarian playbook, right? That there need to be more white children, right? That's the idea that there's, this is about great replacement theory, racism, right? This is what this is. So don't misunderstand it for him wanting more children. He wants a certain kind of, racist thing. So I would say, it's certainly true. And attacking people for not having children is really cruel.
To claim this man only wants white children is absolutely, it's not even ridiculous. It's not even ridiculous. This is blasphemy. He's married to an Indian woman. Not just like an Indian woman, straight up, not red dot. I'm sorry, not feather, but red dot. She's also Hindu. And his child is named Vivek, for Christ's sake. So
I love it.
Can they be more wrong on a topic? How do we continue to allow these talking heads to just straight up lie and make defamatory statements about someone who they're lying to help their preferred candidate?
Right.
This should not be allowed by any mainstream media. This is it. I don't care if it's Fox News, MSNBC, CNN, whatever it is, Newsmax, whatever else you get your mainstream media news from. This should not be allowed for them to just straight up lie to you. And not just lie, but I mean, what's the most ridiculous thing? That you can say anything about a politician and they essentially can't go after you for libel.
Right, because you're a public figure.
Right. So I've had it many times when I was on city council. They can literally say anything about me. And they have. And that's fine. Because I've got very thick skin.
I think that's the way it should be, by the way. We can't have lawsuits being brought against private citizens over things they say about political candidates.
I agree. Do you think the same way about the media? Should we be able to say something to the media and say, you have clearly lied about this person by saying that he only wants white children?
What do you think should happen to the media for lying like that?
I think they should get the same fine as if someone said the F word on the radio.
Okay, but the F word is a quantifiable thing, right? I mean, if the F bomb goes over the air, there it is. There's the evidence. There's a lot of gray area in the media saying things as to how do we know that it's 100% true or not? It's like the old argument about what's a fact. Well, everybody knows a fact when they see one, right?
Okay.
So that's going to be a little bit more difficult of practical application than a fine over an F-bomb.
I think Dr. Bob is a liberal here. His liberal side is showing here. No, I agree.
Okay, I want to sue you for that.
I just think I think at this point, it's not only that they're kind of pushing people to think one way, and with their tribalism, that they're trying to force people into these groups and saying you're part of this group, so therefore you must attack that person. I'm tired of that. But it's gotten to this point now where I think it's more nefarious, where it's so blatantly obvious what they're doing. And it's so blatantly obvious that let's even include the Secret Service that allowed the guy on the roof to take a shot or 8 at the president, former president of the United States. It's so obvious that they want you to see that they control everything. everything.
The media.
The media. Not the media. Media doesn't control anything. They're directed to present something to the American public. I mean, look at literally within 12 hours of allegedly Joe Biden quitting basically on Twitter saying, you know what, I'm not going to rerun for election. My everything's behind Kamala Harris now. Within 12 hours, they had everything at the ready. They had Kamala Harris with the brat logo, with the green colors. She was all over the news for the past week. She has been the talking head. I don't think Joe Biden even is the president, and I don't think he was the president the entire time. But seriously, at this point, who is actually running our country? But the media is freaking playing offense for her. That's where I have a problem.
Sure.
Because we have questions. As American citizens, we have questions. As a Democrat, I certainly have questions. How is it that this has been allowed in the Democratic Party yet again? Because we talked about it before, where the political elites get to choose who their candidate's going to be and who they're going to put all of their influence, money, media behind, and who they're going to use all of that to attack.
Try this. How about letting the free market determine the outcome of this whole thing? Because if you look at what's going on, the public perception of like cable news outlets, at least most of them, is below the approval levels for Congress. And right now, I mean, now just check this. I mean, Newsmax, which was like a little also ran channel 5 years ago, is going public right now. Really? And they have a bigger audience than CNN. So maybe this whole thing the good old free market is going to clean all this up.
It's supposed to. The scary thing is, maybe our government is going towards a free market. We're going to jump into that topic after this break. 346-3000 is the number to call, though. We do want to hear from you, your insights on all the nonsense that's happening with our media. And are they controlled by the Democrats, or are they controlled by a higher entity? 346-3000, number to call, the WYSL station. I am the Jose Pio. Politically Correct News Show. We'll be right back after this.
One day, I promise one day your heart will stop. But I've never changed.
To live the quality of life we deserve in truth and freedom, informed by our Constitution, our laws, and traditions, we need to pick the best leaders possible. Recent experience certainly illustrates that. Free and accurate elections are essential if we're going to restore our society and safeguard our rights. New York Citizens Audit is a volunteer, nonpartisan group which has been lobbying for open source audits of the State Board of Elections and reform of the electoral process statewide. Did you know Citizens Audit has uncovered over 1 million felony violations of election law, that in 2020 there were 625,000 more voter registrations than existing voting age citizens in just 6 New York counties, that there were 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted. These are just a few shocking examples of the urgent need for reform. You can help. Visit auditny.com and learn the facts, how to volunteer, and make a difference in your community. Again, volunteer, donate, or spread the word. Start at auditny.com. That's auditny.com.
I'm Greece Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Joe Robach. If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community, we have people. Consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber. We are the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education,
You
do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we are better together, and together we can move your business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today. You'll be glad you did.
Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and along with my son Zach, we are the owners of Flower City Collision. We've been advertisers on the Voice of Liberty for the last couple of years, so I want to thank the listeners of WISL for their patronage, which has allowed us to grow and reinvest in the latest technologies to ensure that your vehicles are repaired to the most current standards, whether conventional or EV. If you're in a collision, reach out to Zach at Flower City Collision in Henrietta, and he'll work with your national insurance company on your local behalf to ensure that your repair gets done right.
Politically correcting.
All right, we are back. That's a great commercial spot right there for the congressional candidate, Greg Sadwick, and his biggest fan, Keith, on the line. Keith, how are you?
Okay, hopefully you are too, both of you. Earlier in the show, you were trying to inspire people and spur them on to, let's say, greater humanitarian. Human nature-wise, a lot of people will not take up that towards themselves. We don't have the draft. What about, as they always have said in the past, 2 years of national service? A lot of our young people today really are adrift. Over the weekend, I was reading a magazine article about Clara Barton in the Civil War. She was called the Angel of the Battlefield and went on to found the American Red Cross. In closing, I don't know whether it's the new technology. At 68, I stay away from it mostly. I do things that I have to do. Some things I still work. But a lot of kids today, they're just taken up with that god-awful social networking. And we aren't really producing the Clara Bartons of old. And I'm just wondering out loud, why not even a required national service, on a national effort, 2 years of service from a lot of these young people who don't know which way is up. And if we ever have a true disaster in this country, a true meltdown or a decline of our country, a lot of these young people don't know what to do. And I think 2 years of national service would really focus them. And we could start creating some modern Clara Bartons that we just are not bringing forth today. And I would really recommend 2 years national service for all of our young people, even make it required. Thank you very much. Bye.
Keith, thank you so much for calling. I completely agree with you because that is also something that Vivek Ramaswamy had stated that he wanted to do as well. 2 years national service. You can choose Job Corps, Peace Corps, military, if you're not going to college, if you don't already have a college plan. It makes sense to me because that way you get some, I don't know, national pride. But the only fearful thing I would have is the fact that, kids these days don't know whether they're a cat or a girl. It's kind of scary for them to be on It's kind of scary for them to be on their battlefield with weaponry that can take away lives. So other than that, I actually do agree. I think we should have the push for that at the very least before the true meltdown does happen, because it is going to happen. I believe it is coming up. We also have a caller, the Mike. How you doing, brother?
Hey, pretty good, Jose. I'll make it quick. I'm running here. I know we're running low on time. Hey, during your clip there, you mentioned they brought up about replacement, low birth rates and replacement. Okay, we are all being, the white birth rate is low because a lot of these people went to school, built up big debt, can't afford to pay their school loan, and they're working longer. But we're all being replaced, okay? It's just not white, it's everybody. Kamala Harris just came out during one of her thumps. She wants to legalize all the immigrants. She just wants to give them full amnesty right off the bat. Okay, we know there's the numbers they're telling us anywhere. The real numbers are 20 million illegals here. So now we're all being replaced. And as far as the news media, okay, the way to hurt them is to find out who their advertisers are and boycott.
I agree with Mike. Boycott them. We'll cut them off.
Cut them off. No money. You want to pay for stupid funding for CNN? Guess what? I don't buy your products because I don't agree with it.
There you go.
That's what I got to say.
You should only be listening to WYSL and specifically the politically correct voice, of course.
Yes, first and foremost, absolutely. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Low birth rate, you're absolutely right. Great. Is everybody across the board, not just white people. You're absolutely right. I do not agree with full amnesty. I'm not for that. We also have Eric. How you doing, brother?
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you taking my call. I think that the the draft is a really bad idea because the mandatory service is never going to be used to get young people doing Clara Barton work or, feeding the hungry and housing the homeless. They're going to be sent into a meat grinder in Ukraine or Israel or Taiwan, any of the hot spots that are coming up, South Korea. There's a lot of places where it's just with the intent of public service is good, but going into the military by conscription is not a freedom thing. We should be fighting against this. It should be somebody's choice if they want to go in the military or not.
Yeah, no, I think, Eric, you might have missed that. I wasn't agreeing to the draft. I was saying that they need to have 2 years of national service. That also includes Job Corps and AmeriCorps, though.
Well, I think those organizations are top heavy, and usually many of these organizations, 90% of the money goes to administration and travel and, expenses, and very little gets back to, quote unquote, the needy. So if people really want to do civic work, go down to your courthouse and pass out jury nullification flyers. This is what got our republic to be born during the colonial times when the British would bring people in on tax charges or gun charges or any of the other things that we have similar today. The juries would just say not guilty, not guilty, not guilty, because even if the person technically broke the statute, if the law is unfair itself, the jury has every right and every duty to judge the law as well as the facts at hand. And through what's called jury nullification, just look it up online. There's a great jury nullification letter that you can download and print out at courtroomwatch.com. That's courtroomwatch.com. And go down on jury selection day, find out what day it is, go down at 8:30, and run down that line of people handing out jury nullification flyers. If it's a case that's that's where somebody's freedom is being violated, and that's the bulk of the cases coming through the courts right now. That's victimless crime.
Eric, I love that idea because I've been diving deep into the fact that our laws aren't really laws, and the court system is done under UCC code. I've been diving into that recently, probably in the past 2-3 days, where everything comes from what I hear from England. Are you along that same mentality?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I wish you get back to common law, which states no victim, no crime. All these charges of disobedience where nobody was injured, that has to go bye-bye, or we're not going to be free.
Yeah, I love that, Eric. Actually, you should make sure you go on our Facebook page. Message me on there, please, because this is certainly something I want to dive deeper into and might be a future conversation that maybe you and I can have, or I'll just have online, and we should definitely push that information out. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate that insight. Jury nullification flyers. That's awesome. I'm going to dive into that. Another rabbit hole that you're going to find me in late at night.
There's never a shortage, is there?
There never is. This is the miracle we live in today. Make sure you stay vigilant, see things for what it is, look through the nonsense, and most importantly, listen to the politically correct voice. As always, I wouldn't say we know it all. We at least give you the information so that you can know it all. We'll be right back on Monday with another episode. We do have a podcast tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening, we will be live on Facebook, YouTube. We'll be live with the actual podcast, a non-suitable for work podcast where we can swear it up all we want. I try not to. But
it becomes a habit. You got to watch this.
You're so right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us at the Politically Correcting Show here at the WYSL station. We love you. Appreciate you all. Come check us on our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and we'll be back on Monday here at the WYSL station.
Live harness racing is returned to Batavia Downs for the summer of 2024. Sponsored by Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer Center. Join us inside our club.